to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Curtdog. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm 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 welcome to speak. Who you with, Curtdog? Who you with, Curtdog? Happy Thursday to everyone. Hopefully y'all having a great day today. You read the post. Tonight, not only will Miss Rskee be on the show, but also Miss Dione Simmons, a licensed counselor. Tonight is about a show of helping people. So hopefully y'all already had the number 972 591 3665 972 591 3665. You can call in and ask Miss Simmons questions tonight. And we're gonna deal with some stuff tonight. So I'm not gonna hold y'all up. So Miss Rskee, how you doing tonight?
I've been better. Like having some connectivity issues. Not going to go into it on the podcast yet, but it will be a risky rant probably soon enough. Like I can't see any of the comments if they come in. It's just like that, when you lose connectivity and a little dinosaur box comes up. That's
Yeah.
what I'm seeing right now. So the page isn't fully loaded.
Okay.
No,
It'll
no,
load up in a minute. I know it will.
no, because it's been up there for a minute, and I was like, I probably should have refreshed. Maybe I
All
don't
right.
know.
Well, if you want to do that, I can bring you back in.
Let me just refresh and see what happens.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Miss Simmons in, and I'll bring you
All
back in.
right,
All right,
all right.
Miss Simmons, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. First of all, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the show to be a blessing for others. Because right now, during this time, we all need counseling with everything that's going on in the world.
Well,
We
no
do. I
problem.
don't.
No problem. Counselors have been very, very busy.
Well, I talked with both of you back around Thanksgiving about what I dealt with, and
hmm
um, it. I know I'm not the only one to deal with it, and I realized I actually didn't take time to grieve the loss of my mother. So, and I think both of y'all, Miss Rskee, she got it the most because I ended up calling her, and she didn't want to say nothing, but she helped me out. So, um, but still, as death is all around us, it's a hard situation to deal with, especially losing your mother and having to try to deal with it and be strong for everyone else. So, but I'm glad you're here tonight for we can try to help someone else tonight, get them some help because some people don't know how to deal with it.
Yes, grief comes in different stages and it comes at different times. And, when you're going through the first, the first holidays is the toughest. And some people think it's not going to be as tough as it actually is. So you have to prepare yourself for it. It's like someone told me grief is like a um, tidal wave. And right now, in the first couple of years, that tidal wave is just coming and you can't stop it. Soon as you come up for air, it hits you back. It hits you and you go back under. What counseling helps you do is it prepares you for that tidal wave, because the tidal wave is going to come, but at least it will prepare you to know, okay, I can see that tidal wave from a distance because that anniversary is coming up, that holiday is coming up, that birthday is coming up. I know it's going to take me out, but I know I'm going to get back up and I'm going to be okay. So grief is real and it's going to come at different stages at different times. You just have to prepare yourself for it.
Most definitely. It's amazing because I was working one day and I was talking with this guy, and he asked me. He said, "How was your Thanksgiving?" I said, "Well, it was good. Never met the guy before." I said, it was okay, but it was rough." He said, "What you mean it was rough?" I said, "Because this was the first year without my mother." And he just started saying, "Man, I lost my mom about 5 or 6 years ago. And every once in a while, I pick up the phone, call her number, and I realize she's not going to answer." And I'm like, "I've done that too." And I'm like, "Man." So we talked, and I wish the brother and I would have communicated a little bit more, but he was going to do his work. I'm trying to do mine. So we didn't get a chance to communicate it, more about it, because even 5 or 6 years ago, when his mother died, still today, he still pick up the phone. And
Mm-hmm.
what a lot of people don't realize, there's no time limit on this. There's no time limit for grief. Some people say, "Oh, it's not that bad. It's been a while." No, you don't know what type of relationship
Mm-hmm.
that person had with their loved one. Um, I look at several things because my mom's birthday and my birthday are day apart. So it's like every year we used to do cookouts every year for her birthday. So it was a bit different than most people. So it's rough.
Right. You don't get over the loss. You just learn how to cope with it.
Yes. And what you I see Miss Risky's back now. Her internet
Yeah.
is messed up.
Yeah.
Let them
It's
make it.
gonna
Let them.
like I hope it's done doing whatever it's doing.
Hopefully, we'll keep our finger crossed. Um, then also, um, with this pandemic, it seemed like every other week or so, or months or so, it's a new variant to come out, which we just heard on the news. I think it was when I got home. They was like, um, "Now we may have to take another booster shot." I'm like, "I haven't got my first booster," and they already talking about another one.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wait a minute, something's not right," and that could be very stressful having to take shots because I don't like needles, and that's a I prefer to be hit in the mouth instead of drawing blood. But that's just me. Um, so it's rough, uh, all
Yeah,
around
there's a
us.
lot of stuff going on. Like people haven't even dealt and figured out how to cope with the first the lockdown we had with the initial start of COVID. And we were secluded from everyone, our loved ones, peers, for almost a year. So we never really recovered from that. And so now they're just throwing us out there in all these variants and rules, and we're still wearing face masks, and most people aren't even acting right now.
Hmm.
So it's like we never really had time to even decompress from all this. We're just kind of going through the motions. So it's just like that bunch of wackadoo people running around with masks. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's people are still trying to process this virus, and now that it just keeps mutating, um, and then you have people who don't believe in it,
right,
right? They think it's a hoax, even though people are dying every day, and you have to deal with that. Um, and then you have to deal with the people who have lost people and the grief that they're dealing with, because it is real. I've known people who have passed away from it. I've had friends who are dealing with people in the hospital now that are, you know, in very tough situations because of this virus. So you is a mental, um, situation where people are really dealing with this virus. But I really look at this virus as I look at the flu, because 100 years ago it was a pandemic, and it mutates every year. When we get the flu shot, it has mutated already,
right,
and we're getting last year's mutation. So what we put in our body this year is last year's version.
right,
So this virus is going to continue to mutate
right,
because not everyone is getting the vaccine.
True.
So if everyone don't get vaccinated, and it's just my thoughts of it, I'm not a doctor yet, for not a doctor in medicine, but from what I gather, from what I hear on the news, if everyone doesn't get vaccinated, it's just going to continue to mutate.
right. It's going to be a
True.
way of
So,
life.
right, it's going to find a way to keep mutating. So to me, it's just like the flu. So every year you get a flu vaccine.
Yeah.
So you're gonna line up and get your flu vaccination. You're gonna line up to get, your COVID vaccination.
True.
It's just a way of life. So right now it seems like a lot because it's new.
Right,
It was new. The flu was new 100 years ago.
right,
Mumps, measles, and all that other stuff was new 200 years ago. So this is just that version of it, from what I gather from my reading. So it's
right.
just
Even
processing it
smallpox,
all. Yeah, all of that
was an
stuff.
issue,
Right.
and now they're like, even though I feel cheated that my niece didn't have to go through chicken pox like we did, to me it
Mhm.
was like a rite of passage, you
Mhm.
know, to have all the lotion on your body.
Mhm.
Maybe you got some war wounds. I
Mhm.
came out lucky, so I don't have too many scars. But to find out, from my sister, oh no, she got a vaccine or a shot. I was like, what?
Mhm.
That's not fair.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like, but you don't see too many cases. Yes, I'm sure that here and there in like these town, small countries, yeah,
Mhm.
it pops up, but we have a handle on it. There's a vaccine for it.
Right.
And I think initially we should have had a longer lockdown to kind of get a handle on it. I don't think it was handled properly, but we're here. And
Mhm.
so now we just gotta try to do our part so that it won't spread so much.
Right.
But at the end of the day, people, like I've said on the show numerous times, we need better healthcare
True.
because one of the things that's lacking and why we're doing the wackadoo things we're doing is lack of mental health care.
Mhm.
Because like you don't go to the doctor unless something broken or you bleeding out.
Right. Mhm.
But we need to get this right.
Right.
And all these changes and regulations, people don't know how to handle that.
Mhm.
It's so true. Now, you said a lot of people don't want to take this serious enough. They don't want to wear their mask to protect themselves, nor the people around them. I seen some crazy stuff yesterday. I went to the store. Um, Now this lady, she didn't have a mask on, but she grabbed a paper towel to pick up the package of meat she was grabbing. And I'm like, that defeat the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing they do makes sense. It's like in the beginning when people were wearing the gloves. You're wearing it all day, touching random stuff that's contaminating. Like wearing the gloves is not just. It's like reusing a condom. Like you're just passing on the virus. You got to change out your gloves. Or what I saw at one of the clerks at Dollar General or Dollar Tree, one of those. He used hand sanitizer on his gloves, and I was like, well, at least that's the smartest thing I've ever seen somebody do with
Mm-hmm.
gloves because he's handling money and transacting and touching things. I was like, that's the smartest thing if you're going to recycle gloves.
Mm-hmm.
But people were just touching everything, faces, hair, all day in the car. Well, I'm
Eating,
wearing gloves.
Well, I love when
eating.
they wear their gloves in the store, but then they go into their wallet or their purse,
Yeah.
with the
It's
gloves
like,
on. I'm like, so you contaminated everything in your wallet.
right,
COVID is in your wallet now,
right.
and you're
So
going to
now
take
when
your
you go
wallet
for that
home.
piece of gum in your purse,
Yeah,
you're eating COVID.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Or maybe
Exactly.
salmonella from that meat you just
yeah,
touched.
yeah. But it's just that it's the mind, the concept of not being fully knowledgeable, not
Yes.
taking the time out to really research
Right,
and understand everything there is to know about what COVID is, and how how you can get it.
right.
The lady who takes care of my son, I have a son on the spectrum, and she had, was very knowledgeable of COVID when it first came out. She wore the mask, the shield. Well, not the shield, but the mask. She changed in her garage. She did everything because she have, um, you know, medical history. So she really couldn't catch it. She did everything right, but she
Mm,
walked into a Walmart. She left my house, walked into the Walmart. My house is the only house she would go to outside of her house, and went into a Walmart and must have walked into someone sneezing or coughing, and it got into her eyes, and she
mm.
caught COVID, and she was down for 3 months, and she didn't think she was going to make. She thought she would have to go to the hospital, and she fought it, and
Yeah,
she
and
still
it's
has,
crazy.
you know, issues from it. And this was a year ago. She
Mm.
still has complications from it.
Yeah, one of my coworkers, her ex son-in-law, she knew him since he was like junior high, um, but and was like a son to her. He had other, health issues, got COVID, was in a hospital at one point, was on a respirator, recovered from that, but then had other issues because his lungs didn't fully recover
Hmm.
from that and passed away, 27 years old,
Mm.
with a 10-year-old,
Hmm.
and it's just like, I think in order for people to be a little bit more cautious when they go out and
Hmm.
less selfish, it's going to have to hit them directly
Hmm.
for them to see because
Right.
out of sight out of mind, like we talk about our personal issues until someone experiences it, they have no point
Right.
of reference, and
Until
that's what it's going to take.
it knocks on your door, you're not going to
Hmm.
take it serious.
Yeah.
My sister I have one sister that's a nurse, and she says she has never met anyone that came in there who didn't believe in COVID. Once they caught it, didn't say they didn't believe in it anymore. Because
Of
she
course.
said that they begged for the vaccine, and she's like, it's too late.
Right.
You can't get it at this point. You can't get it.
Yeah,
And
we've
it's sad
talked
that that
about
has to happen.
we talked about different um, people that actually passed away and on their deathbed they was begging their
Mhm,
loved ones to get the vaccine.
mhm,
And at this point, I'm I'm just to the point. Hey, you either gonna take it or you're not gonna take it. And I prefer you would take it, but that's your decision, and you have to live with the consequences. Um, so me personally, I'm fully vaccinated, but waiting for I could take my booster to protect myself more.
mhm,
You
And
know, I was on the fence. I mean, my sister got the booster and my mom. Um, I'll probably get it when I'm on my little mini vacation at the end of the month. But I'm still on the fence with it because, I don't really go anywhere. But when I do, it's like, well, I should probably take it just because I'm trying to get out more and, enjoy the roses. But again, like you said, somebody could sneeze and,
mhm.
your eyes are a mucous membrane, you can get anything uh, in your eyes and whatever. But so don't be surprised if I'm down for the count one day.
Well, I got my booster on Sunday,
uh,
and it didn't affect me.
yeah, yeah. My sister, she did the Moderna. She's sticking with what she had
Mhm,
initially, and she was feeling kind of not 100%. Um, I know when I got the Pfizer one. Um, the first two shots, I didn't really have any side effects. I was just exhausted. Like I was so tired, and I was like, "Is this what fatigue is?" Because my eyes, I just cannot. Like, and it was just the worst feeling of just I couldn't do anything. But I felt fine. I was just
mhm.
sleepy.
Yeah, I
So
got the Pfizer, and the second one I was tired, but the booster I was a little tired, but that was about it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
right. And that's where I am as well. Because it's like even in, because I work part time in the office because
Mhm,
there's no way around it. I've got to print manual checks in the office.
mhm,
And it's a small group of us. So fortunately, most of the people are working from home. So it's just like five of us in the office, rotating. Um, but even still being in those quarters where they don't really clean it often,
mhm,
um, to just be protected because anybody can walk in delivering mail and
mhm.
expose us. So
And I
that's
can tell you when we talk about the mental aspect of um, COVID and dealing with healthcare workers and dealing with nurses and frontline workers, when they're dealing with these non-vaccinated um, patients that are coming in with COVID, and they are begging for help and begging for the vaccination, and they are needing, this help. These nurses and other healthcare workers are exhausted,
oh yeah,
and they have lost their a little bit compassion because there is a vaccine that can prevent this. And there are people who choose not to take it. And so they're overworked and they're exhausted. And mentally, it takes a lot. It is draining on these healthcare workers.
exactly.
So their compassion level has been lowered. They're still
Right.
going to do their best to give that care, but they get to a point where, hey, that's all you had to do is take the shot.
Right.
You wouldn't
Exactly.
be here.
Right. Now I'm wasting time with my family
Right,
to care for you,
right,
who, should know better.
right.
But
So
so
it's hard for them to keep that care, that top-notch care that they have always had to deal with patients that chose, not saying it's different if there are people who can't get the vaccination for health reasons. But if you're just going around saying COVID is not real, I'm not doing it, I don't believe in it, all this other
It's a
stuff.
conspiracy. It's a way
Right.
for the
But
government to
you go in
control us.
there and you find out you're COVID and you need a ventilator or you need this stuff. And now you're begging for this care. And these nurses are exhausted and these healthcare professionals are exhausted. And now they have to work these hours, like you said, leave their family to take care of you when the only thing you had to do was to get the shot.
Now, how do y'all feel about these healthcare workers uh, that basically saying they're not going to take the vaccine? And some of them have been terminated. I think it's mostly down in Houston, the ones I seen where they was like, oh, I'm not going to take it. They're just going to have to fire me. How do y'all feel about healthcare workers not wanting to take it?
I think everyone has a right in a belief of their choice. But if it's their job saying this is what you have to do to work here, if they choose not to do that, then they choose not to work in that environment.
Because especially when you're dealing with a mass of people on a daily basis, like you could be exposing them to the virus.
Mm-hmm.
These people with weakened immune systems, children, elderly,
Mm-hmm.
you come in contact with these people all the time, and then they go home and
Right.
expose. It's like a domino effect,
Right.
and it's like as a healthcare worker, your drive is to help people and not make them sick.
Hurt them. Right. You take that oath to always, I don't know what the oath is, how it, word for word, but, sum it up. You take an oath to always
Do no
provide
harm or
help,
something.
do no harm. Yeah. So by not protecting yourself and you could endanger someone, you can't do that. But you have a right to choose. That's your right. You live in America, you have that right. But so do your employer. If your employer say, hey, this is what we expect, of you to do to work here. If you don't want to do that, then you don't have to, but you can't work there.
Exactly. Like the military. Like I remember going to basic training and you just lined up getting shots. I didn't know what all those
Didn't know
things were.
what you was getting.
But
You
guess
don't know
what?
what you're getting.
Like I know one of them was penicillin and that hurt. That's
Mhm.
all I'm saying. That one hurt for no reason.
Right.
But
You couldn't say, oh, I don't want that.
right, because
You
you're
know?
property of the government and
Yeah.
you just lined up and they just had those guns in both arms. I was like, no. So like I
Mhm.
know what it feels like for those little babies to get all them injections in their little
Mhm.
thighs. It's like painful and like you don't understand why, but it's something you
Right.
got to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, and same with the medical field. Listen, you're a part of this organization. Either get the vaccine or
Gotta go.
yeah.
But I like how some of the hospitals were saying, hey, if you don't get the vaccine and you catch COVID, we're not covering your insurance for COVID. You're going to pay this $40,000 for your hospital stay if you
As they
catch
should.
COVID. Exactly.
It's like, well, you didn't believe it existed.
Right.
And you work
So,
here.
right. You don't believe in it, we're not covering it. So
That's a good
I
thing.
thought that was a good thing for them to do that.
Yes.
If you don't believe in it, neither do we. We don't believe in covering it. So I think that was a good caveat to that, saying, hey, you take care of that $40,000 bill.
Mm-hmm. Just like those people is like always gotta GoFundMe. Oh, let my kids on a
Yeah.
ventilator.
Matter
Yeah.
of
See
fact,
how that GoFundMe works. See how
Right.
many people gonna pay
Your
for
your
that.
your 20, 30-year-old son, it's like,
Hmm.
well, he's grown. He could have gotten the vaccine.
Right.
easy. But no, he wanted to gallivant and go to college parties and do all these things unprotected, and now you
And
want
that's
to
the
have to feel
scary part.
sorry.
I think the younger age groups, the 20s, even 30s, I think that age is a little scary because they don't take this virus that serious. And you see a lot of them walking around with no mask. They think they are, immune to anything. And that's
Right,
just that, you know, invincible thinking. So that age range is really scary because at first, when the pandemic first broke, it was this age group or this race of people. All these different, scenarios were going on. But that age group is really scary. When they had
right,
that concert in Houston,
right,
all those people, they didn't have masks
right.
on.
At all. Just like looking like sardines,
Yeah.
just
I'm
all
like,
breathing the
who
same
goes
air.
to something like that? Doesn't, I don't care if you're vaccinated, you still can get COVID,
True.
Exactly.
and they're out there, and that's just alarming to me. So there's a lot of people that have this false sense of reality to think that
And
they
false sense
can't
of
get it.
security.
Yes, that's
So yeah.
scary. And that's why it mutates because of that false sense of reality and thinking that nothing can happen to them.
Now, would you say that could be um, reason why people believe that this virus is not real? Do you think it could be a mental issue or just
I think it's
listening to
just
the
that
wrong folks?
age. It's that age group who just don't think that death is real. I mean, when you were in your 20s, you thought you were invincible.
I was a little cautious. I was a hypochondriac, so I was always kind of like, you want to go, who gonna be there? Like I'm still like that. Who gonna be there? I think about it. But yeah, but there was some carelessness in my
Hmm.
youth,
Hmm.
and as like you go through that. But we also didn't have a pandemic
Right.
to go
Exactly.
through. So I went to my concerts and I went to random places I shouldn't have been, but I survived.
Yeah. I
No
mean,
big deal.
trust me, I have family members
Yeah,
who don't believe water is wet until it hits them.
yeah.
So, yeah, it happens in your own family.
True.
But I also, yeah,
Uh, I'm pushing the wrong button. You're listening to Speak On It with Who You With Curtdog. It's Miss Rskee, Miss Simmons, who is a licensed counselor, professional counselor in the house. We're dealing with mental illness, whatever you are struggling with. She's here to answer your questions. You can live chat with us in the chat room, or you can call in 972-591-3665 and ask question, whatever it is that you're struggling with. Definitely want to call in and get some help. It could be anything from domestic abuse, past sexual abuse, and mental illness, because right now we're all stressed. And a lot of people are dealing with depression. That's why we see all these road rage shooting going on here in the Metroplex, because people stressed and don't know how to deal with confrontation when it approach. And some of them just look for trouble. So you can definitely call in. Now, since we are talking about the coronavirus and the mental issue of it, I read a story last week. One of Georgia leader, Marjorie's, what's her name? Marjorie. Well, I
Taylor
forgot it.
Green or
Yeah,
something.
Taylor. Yeah, made the comment last week and tried to compare counsel to the COVID. And I'm like, how can you compare the two? I'm thinking she probably was dropped on her head as a baby. I don't know.
Yeah, like the logic was just not there. It's like cancer to COVID. Okay, like I can't just stay locked up in a house and not, get cancer. Either I get cancer or I get, because like that, you can't avoid that. Um, but COVID, you can avoid that. If you can try to minimize your exposure, but you can't minimize your exposure to cancer. Like I didn't even understand that relationship she was trying to make there, because it was just twisted. Like
Yeah,
it just makes you wonder, like, what is in your head? Like she probably has little birds like in her head swinging on a swing, chirping at each other. Like I just don't understand that, but I don't know. That that's the world we live in now.
if
Sometimes people just talk without think. A lot of people just talk without thinking,
Yeah,
and when you
what
try to you can't rationalize irrational thoughts.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
well said. Um, well said, because any other time it would have been something else. But
Oh, I have a question. This is okay. So I'm usually the one that people go to for all their issues
mhm,
since I was knee high. Because, like probably because I would forget most of the information. So secret was safe for me.
mhm.
I can retain some, but, for the most part, I check out because I got my own issues. But for some people, like they dump all of their luggage, like enough for a 3-year voyage. And I'm trying to like I don't know how to handle that. Like, and sometimes I end up getting pulled in. Like I'm cool, calm, and collected, but after a while it's like, oh my gosh, like
Mhm.
why? Why am I the one? And it's like a few people in my life, and I'm just like they'll call or whatever, and I look at the phone and I have to think,
Do you
am
want to
I in
answer?
a right place mentally for this? Like, how much wine did I drink? Because if I drink enough wine, I'm not going to be able to handle it the way I should. It's like walking on eggshells, and sometimes I don't want to be walking on eggshells because I'm very blunt, I'm very open and honest. And I'm going to tell it like it is, but sometimes it's like it's not worth the grief.
Mhm.
So I'm like trying to figure out how to not be so available
So let me
to
ask
all
you
of the
this:
shenanigans.
when they come to you and dump their stuff,
Hmm.
are they open to what you have to say?
No, not at all.
Okay, so what I tell people is, and what I do, because you have this natural gift, and people, you attract people to you because you have a gift to where you can help people. You have this helping ability. I try not to make eye contact with people when I'm out. I usually have a baseball cap on. I keep my head down because for some I can be in a grocery line and I
Hmm.
don't say these words. How are you?
Right.
Because they dump it, and I'm like, I'm just in a checkout line. I really don't want to know how you're
Been there.
doing, so I don't make eye contact. I've
It
learned the
seems like
hard way.
that doesn't work for me because sometimes I'll just be in
I
line
have
and then
headphones on.
somebody.
I act like I don't hear you.
Okay, so I
So,
need
I,
headphones
but
because I
what I do,
guarantee you,
yeah,
I
they
will
will
get
stop.
somebody and they're like, what? This is my second divorce. What? I don't
But
know
when you're
you.
talking to friends
Hmm.
or family, I have a very large family. Sometimes I would say, um, with friends or whomever, do you want do you want um, do you want a solution or do you want to vent? Because if you want to vent, I'm not really paying attention to what you're saying. If you want a solution, I'll pay attention, but I'm going to let you know the truth.
Right. And they have to be open to receive that.
You have to be open
And
to
a lot
receive
of
it.
times that's not what they want.
But if they want to
And
vent, you can vent, but I'm gonna be doing some other stuff while you're venting. So I'm listening, but you may only get one ear. You can't have
right,
both
right. And
because
that's
you're
what I
not
gotta
gonna dump
learn
it
to
on
do, is
me.
to kind of be at a
Right.
distance during that moment, because sometimes I get sucked into that vortex,
Hmm.
and then I'm like, oh my gosh. And then now the grievance is with me.
Well, because
And I
what
was like,
people
how
do
did I
is
get here?
they dump their problems on you, and then they're fine, and you left holding all the bag. You're holding all of their weight. So now they're off and they're fine, and they'll probably go to bed and they can sleep at night because you have all their baggage. And now you're tussling trying to figure out their problems, and they're
Yeah,
fine.
right,
So if it's too much for you, you give them a counselor's card and say, hey, you need to go and talk to them because they can help you deal with that situation. Because that counselor is going to make them own that problem
right.
and make them understand what that problem is.
Yeah, because I think with me, I think the issue is like, on one hand, they do want a solution and help, but they don't want to fully take ownership of
Right.
all their stuff.
Right.
And then once you offer them a solution, it's, well, I don't want to do this because there's always
Hmm.
excuses.
Hmm. So they don't want a solution.
Right.
Just like
Not
being
point.
almost pregnant. Either you're
Right.
pregnant or you're not.
It's like, and it's frustrating because it's the same stuff all the time,
Hmm.
every day. And because like these people are close to me, it's hard to kind of separate.
Right. So you say,
So
you know what? You need to go and talk to somebody. That's your
yeah,
best thing you can do.
yeah,
And if they say, well, I don't believe in counseling. Oh, you should. It works.
yeah,
Exactly. I'm a living
yeah. I need to sign
testimony
up
of that.
myself.
Even
I'm a,
counselors I have a counselor that I talk to once a month because I'm a human being. I have my own set of problems.
Hmm.
Even though I know how to solve problems, I'm still a human being. So I have someone that keeps me accountable.
All right.
Because at the
Because
end of the
it's like,
day,
it's funny
right.
what lingers with you.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, you may be all like gung ho and like, oh, well, I was able to help my friend, but then all of a sudden there's some in the back, and you're like, wait, why can't I release all of this?
Well, I have learned because I worked 17 and a half years for CPS. When I'm done with my sessions, I cut it off. So I don't take anything with me
Right.
because I've been doing this for a long time and I worked for CPS for a long time. So, for counselors and clients ask me, how do you do this? How do you not take this with you? Because when I hit in, I'm done with you. And I don't pick you back up until I see you again because I move on to the next person because I don't take any of it with me. I
Right.
can, you know, leave you because I've learned how to do that.
Right. Because you
I separate,
compartmentalize
yeah,
things
I
and
separate business and personal. So when I see you again is when I pick it back up. Or if I have some homework I need to do with you, I'll do my homework on Mondays is my work time where I don't see clients, but I may do some homework. I may do some things that I need to take care of throughout the week. But I don't replay things.
now,
But
are
for
there
my
free services, or say someone is semi-retired, are there things out available for them for that group, or um, some
what do
sort
you
of
mean?
counseling service that's free or not as expensive?
Well, it depends.
Or
There are counselors that take insurance.
hmm.
There are counselors that take Medicaid, Medicare. Um, there are some counselors that do pro bono work.
Right,
So it just depends.
on what you're looking for and
Right.
where.
Psychology Today is the best place to go because a lot of counselors is on that website. I'm on that website. You go to Psychology Today, you plug into your zip code, and counselors in your area will come up. Your picture is on there, the counselor's picture, their bio is on there. I always say get a feel for, the counselor to see if you have, any type of rapport. You could have rapport with that counselor. You can contact that counselor. Some counselors give like a 15-minute consultation to see if you get a good rapport with that counselor. And they usually, a free 15-minute consultation just to see if there's something there. And you can go from there.
Okay.
But yeah, there are some counselors, and I do offer that sometimes, free counsel, pro bono work, or sliding scales. It just depends. I don't do that for everyone, but I do have certain.
Yeah, I think this one would have to be
clients.
paid service.
So what about
But you know what? And this is one thing I tell people. Sorry, Curtis.
no, go ahead.
People always say, I can't afford to go to counseling, right? This is the thing I get. I can't afford to go to counseling. Counselors cost too much. If you can pay money to get your nails done, and we know how much nails cost, right?
Mhm.
Pedicure and manicure is at least $75 to $100 and something dollars,
Right.
right? You can get your nails done. You can get your hair done. You can spend money to do those things. You can spend money on your mental health.
Yeah.
Because we rather look pretty on the outside when the inside is all messed up. If we take care of the inside, then the outside will shine even better.
Right.
And
It
you
takes a
won't
whole
have
team to keep me upright.
Right.
So I get my my adjustments and a massage every once in a while.
Right.
But I
Self-care is
still,
important,
yeah.
but
Yeah, one
mental
day I'll get
health
a
is
counselor for
important
the
too.
mental stuff.
Right. If you do what's important, and I
Yeah.
always tell people, you have to take care of your mental health. A lot of things you can solve, problems if you take care of your mental health. And a lot of things stem from, not all things, but a lot of things can stem from your childhood. And it creeps up into your adulthood. And people wonder why things are happening in my adulthood. Well, let's, walk back to that childhood and see what was going on. And then when we do that and we unpack some of that baggage, we can understand where it comes from. Because we can make the outside look amazing.
Right.
But if the inside is rotten,
Yeah.
we'll never get better.
Right.
That's so true. So when you talk about the insurance now, what about the EAP program?
Employee assistance
Assistant
program.
program. Yes.
Most jobs have that. And it's so funny. I worked for CPS for probably 15 years before I realized what EAP was, because I never used it. And so, and they never told me about it. And I was in school for counseling and never knew about it. But it's free counseling that your job has. Most jobs have. And you may get a few sessions that's free. And they'll give you a list of counselors that you can go to, that you can see for free. And that can get you started. Your insurance, during COVID, when COVID first happened, some insurances was waiving your copayment to do telehealth. So, and now even some insurances are still doing different types of telehealth where you don't have to pay a copay. So there's all types of ways you can get to, counseling through telehealth. But EAP is a great start with getting into counseling to do free services. You may get 3 free sessions. Those 3 free sessions may change your life if you just try. Sometimes you can't go to your friend because your friend is not licensed to help you. Sometimes you can't go to your pastor because your pastor is not a licensed counselor. Your pastor can get you started, But sometimes you're not going to go to your pastor if you're having heart problems. So you have to go to a licensed professional counselor. You have to go to a marriage and family counselor or a licensed social worker or someone in a medical field, a licensed coach, someone that's licensed that can help you. And a lot of pastors will tell you to go and seek help. They will, my pastor will send you to counselors. So use your go to a counselor. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And you can go to your job and contact your HR. You go to HR and ask for EAP. And ask to get you a counselor and see how many sessions you can get for free. And a
And
lot of
it's
times you
funny
can
because
use
a
your
lot of times
EAP
we
more
don't
than once.
even know how to ask for help. And that's, I think, one of the things that we need to learn as a people. It's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
There are resources out there.
Yes. And you don't
Yeah.
have to wait until things are in dire need
Right.
to ask for help.
And I think we need to normalize getting treatment for mental health and taking care of yourself.
Now, what I've learned from taking counseling, the only way it's really going to help you have to be honest. Honest with yourself, honest with the counselor. That's the only way they can provide the right type of help for you. And I tell this story all the time on the show. The first couple of sessions, I came in there, had my arms folded. My counselor asked me a question. I give them a short answer. Then by that third time, I'm in there crying. I'm like, okay. So I had that breakthrough. But once I had that breakthrough, then I can go in and talk openly, talk freely. And the thing is, the counselor is just like an attorney or a doctor. They cannot share anything y'all discuss. It's between y'all. Not unless
Right.
you're talking about going out.
We talk about that when your first session is about going over your intake session, going over paperwork, but we talk about you know we can't divulge any information without your consent. Even if I'm subpoenaed, I have to have your consent to give that information. So I'm not going to give any information out to anyone without your consent. And it's important to build that relationship. I know it's hard for you to open up to a stranger. We don't judge. There's nothing you can say that's going to make us say, oh my God, really? That's not, we're there to help. We're there to help you to get to a place where you're feeling your best. That's why we're there. We don't judge. We don't think any, in any way about you, in any bad way. We're there to get you to a place where you're feeling good about yourself, you're loving yourself, you have high self-esteem, you feel like you can conquer the world. You feel like you're being the best of yourself that you can be. That's why we're there. And we want you to be open and honest. We know we have some people that open up on the first session and it may take 5 sessions before you open up. But we're there to help guide you to be the best that you can be. No judgments. And I always tell my clients, I don't judge. I'm not there to judge you. I'm just there to help.
That's good to know. Hopefully, someone will take advantage of that EAP. Just go to your HR. If you are working, go to your HR. I mentioned, I think last week on the show, I seen a billboard where the insurance company was saying they offer free counseling with their insurance. So um, take advantage of it because the insurance is high. Take advantage of it. So definitely get help, regardless of who you are, what you're dealing with. Kind of like what Miss Simmons just said a while ago. a lot of our issues today stems from our childhood. You've been holding on to this dark secret and don't have the don't have the strength to bring it out. So this will be a good opportunity to do it, and being able to talk about it. Free your mind. You don't have to do it by yourself. Definitely, you have somebody who's willing to help you, which is a licensed counselor, and look at the long term of it. Because I know if I go 1 week without having it, it's a terrible week for me or for somebody feelings.
Yeah. And then also, like massage, they tell you after the massage, you drink your water to flush all the toxins out of your body. I mean, and therapy is a way to flush all the negative energy out of your system because mental health, like all these disorders and things like that, they could be the reason why maybe you overeat, you drink too much, and do all the things. You putting all this negative stuff inside you on top of the stuff that's already in your head. And counseling could be a way to release all of that, and you can release all the toxins in your body. Because the mind, like your brain, can make you sick. Like I think one year I was so stressed for my job. Like I had to let it go. I had vertigo. I was getting hives. I was losing my hair. I gained like 20 pounds in like 3 months. And my doctor was like, you need another job. This is like, I saw you 3 months ago and all of these things have happened. And I was dealing with so many health issues that it took a specialist and my doctor to kind of peel away the layers, and they determined, girl, you're is depression. Like all of these things. And then it's like separate things were coming into play and they couldn't get a clear diagnosis. And as soon as we resolved those issues, like stopped losing my hair, I no longer had vertigo. And it was just like, huh, how about that? Like my own mind was making me sick from all the negative stuff I was taking in.
Your body, there's a good book, and I had a client tell me that they actually purchased a book. Your body keeps the score, or yeah, your body keeps the score. I have it on my bookshelf. And what that book is about is your body, don't forget. When your body goes through a trauma, any type of trauma, your job was a trauma. Your body is reacting to that trauma, to that stressor. And it's letting you know, hey, I don't like this.
Right.
This is stressing me out. It's keeping score.
Yeah. And it's manifesting in
Yes.
real symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from nausea, hair loss, hives, like all these random things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's powerful. The mind is a powerful
Yeah.
tool, and you have to take care of it.
So when you go through any type of thing that happened to you, trauma, any type of issue in your life that you don't deal with, your body keeps the score. You may say, oh, I'm not worried about that. It sits back here, doesn't go anywhere. But then you're going to continue to deal with it. It's going to show in different ways. You're going to act out. Your behavior is going to show it.
Go
Those,
through a bag of Oreos and
right.
like, I ate a whole sleeve.
So your body, these automatic thoughts come in, these negative thoughts come in, because and then that's how you're going to react. Your reaction, your thoughts, your behavior, your body is going to react to it. Your hair starts to fall out. You're angry and you don't know why, because of that situation, because of that job. You physically sick in the morning because you got to get up, or you start getting sick the day before because oh, it's Monday. Now I got to start this whole week over.
Right. I remember waking up in the middle of the night and I thought I was having an asthma attack. hadn't had asthma
Mm-mm.
or
It was a panic
anything
attack.
since I was a child.
Hmm.
Went to the doctor, he gave me an inhaler, things just like out of the blue. And it was freaking panic attacks.
Hmm. And
Like
panic
I have
attacks are
no
real
and couldn't tell you what triggered it. I think it was just the anticipation of going into that job. Like
because
it
your
had been
body is
Saturday
reacting,
and I
even though
go in
you're
on
not, you
Monday.
don't think you're thinking about it. Your body is
Right,
already picking it up,
right.
it's
It's
sensing
like
it.
dreading Monday,
Hmm.
you know. And it was like, yeah. I
Yeah.
eventually left, so I'm cool now.
Hmm. And it's weird how when you release it, then your body start to relax and
Yes.
you start to feel it like, wow, I didn't know I was carrying that weight. That's what counseling does. When you start to release things, you start to feel better. You feel lighter because you don't realize how much weight you carry around when you're holding on to stuff.
And it's funny, like your body will let you know if you're like I went to through a few jobs since then. And then there was another job and it was just I think my body was like having PTSD moments and I'm just doing payroll and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I can't breathe.
Hmm.
Like I knew this was not going to be the place
Hmm.
for me.
Hmm.
Fortunately, something else lined up and I'm at a great place. Upper management sucks, but my management team
Hmm.
rocks.
But
And the
I
people I
tell
work with rocks.
I tell people, you're you know you have this intuition. People call it the Holy Spirit, people call it whatever they want to call it, but we all been born with this intuition. And you knew when you accepted that job it wasn't for you.
Hmm.
But you ignored that intuition. You ignored that gut feeling that told you don't do it.
Hmm.
But you did it anyway.
Right.
And you suffered the
But
consequences.
you know, but I like to eat, so I just took what was available.
Right. So
But
sometimes
I
we have
knew
to
it
listen
wasn't
to
going to be
that
permanent.
consequences. Right.
But it wasn't permanent, and
Hmm.
things fell into alignment. And so it was like great. So it all worked out. So it wasn't there
Hmm.
too long to where I was
Hmm.
like, "Mm."
Right. But at least you was aware of, hey, I'm going to do this for a minute, but I'm going to keep looking.
Right.
But we have to stay in tune with our intuition when it says, oh, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's
Red
think
alert.
about that. You have to
Abort.
be alert.
Abort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you can
That's
save you a lot of heartache, heartbreak, and money.
Yes.
exactly. Want to welcome everyone to the show. You are listening to Speak On It with Who You With, Curtdog. It's Miss Rskee and myself, and our special guest tonight, Miss Dione Simmons. She is a licensed professional counselor. She's here tonight to help you with whatever you're struggling with. If you are trying to decide how to deal with the struggle that you're going through, you can call in and you can also chat with us live. And she can try to provide the right information for you of how to deal with it. So um, now, definitely want you to call in or chat live with us, and she would answer your question live on the show. Had some people come in earlier. T. Cal, Marcella Smith, all the board is in the house out of Miami. So thank y'all for always tuning in, um, supporting the show, and we can keep it moving, keep it going. Um, so definitely, can you see the question, Ms. Simmons? The comment?
Yes. I'm struggling with being assertive. Any tips? Um, uh, that kind of leaves with a lot of different questions for me. I
It's
would
like
just
what
say,
situation?
yeah, what do you mean assertive? I mean, I don't know what's causing you not to be able to be assertive. Yes. You gotta
Yes.
help me here. I've been up all
Yeah, need
day,
more
so yeah.
context. It's like when I'm at a restaurant and they give me the wrong food. How do I say?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely give some more context on that all aboard, and that she could be able to answer the question a little bit better for you, because there could be a number of things. So, um, some people in the world just, I don't know.
Okay, being assertive in a work setting as a Black woman. Okay. Let's see specifically. I think it's important to always be able to I guess stand your in a way stand your ground. I think it's okay to you don't have to always have to put yourself out there to be heard, but um I guess just make sure you're doing your work and you know what you're doing because you can be quiet and still be heard. Because when people see that you know what you're doing and you're doing what you're doing your job well and you're doing efficiently. I can't say it right now because I'm tired. But you're doing your job well, then they see that. I think the ones who make the loudest noise is not always the ones that know what they're doing. So to be assertiveness is for me, it's just taking care of your business at work. And that's just by doing your work um well. What do you do if you don't mind me asking?
If she want to know what type of work that you do, all aboard, definitely type it in and let us know. I,
I
I,
remember just the jobs that I've had. I'm a very quiet person. Um, I I don't need to be loud. I don't need to be in front of class, but or at my job, I don't need to be the head of anything like jobs I've had, but I've always have been chosen to lead because when I do my job, I do it well. So I do better. I do best watching people and doing what they don't do. And what I mean by that, you have some people who insert themselves into things, culinary field as a chef. Um, I think maybe for you, it's just, you know, do making the best entrees, putting all your energy into what you're doing, letting your letting your food speak for itself. That's the best thing you can do. If you're doing letting your food speak for you, doesn't matter what anyone else is doing because they can't outshine your food.
true.
They can make all the noise they want, but they can't touch your plate.
Exactly.
And
That's
most
how
of
you
them,
insert yourself and be more assertive by letting your food speak. Because that speak volumes. Those who speak in the loudest can't touch your plate.
exactly, they try to talk their way out of
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
from looking bad,
Right.
knowing that
Or
your food tastes.
criticizing
Exactly.
to bring you down.
Right. but
That
for
you know
chefs, taste,
your
yeah,
work.
taste matters. Being in your field, what you put on that plate matters. So they can talk all they want. It goes by what what that palate tastes like. So for you, make your food speak the loudest to quiet all that other noise.
Exactly. So that's a good question on the board. Definitely keep doing what you do in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and um, don't worry about the haters. They're gonna hate.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, also, I know we talked about this before in past shows. Um, Malicious parent syndrome. Um, we can hit on that for a little bit because I know you tired. You've been up since early this morning. I really appreciate you for coming on tonight. I know it's late, but we're not going to hold you too much longer. But I do want to talk about malicious parent syndrome. I guess it was a couple of months ago. A young lady, um, I think it was DeSoto or Lancaster, um, they finally sent out an Amber Alert for a young black chick. And um, and in this Amber Alert, it said it was the non-custodian parent that actually took her. Haven't heard too much more about it. She was found, but haven't heard anything else about the case. I wish I knew more information, but when I hear about the fact of a non-custodian parent uh, taking this child, first thing come to mind is malicious parent syndrome. And I've actually talked to people that I know um, that have said they dealt with it, but they never knew there was a term for it. For the simple fact, they just thought it was baby mama drama, baby daddy drama.
Or some parent being vindictive and using the
Mm-hmm.
child against the, as a
Yeah.
weapon.
But that's what malicious parents do. They do exactly that. Lie to the child, keep them away from the other parent, say this, say that, and it still happened today. And unfortunately, even in the middle of a pandemic, we still having to deal with it, which I feel like it's going to be something that we continue to deal with until they make some type of law to prevent a parent from doing those things.
I think, and this kind of goes back to, I think, my CPS days. You have parents who, when kids are taken from parents, and when I first started at CPS, I would see these parents and I would say, what type of parent would, not all parents, but for most of the parents, what type of parent would do these things or allow these things to be done to their children and not protect them? As the years went on, I look at those parents, some of the parents, and look at them and see them and say, these parents should have been in foster care and should have been taken from their parents. And it's a vicious cycle. When you talk about this content of parents who are doing these things where this baby mama drama and, you know, keeping them away from the other parent and, taking them for whatever reason, what is going on or what has happened in that person's life
Right. That
to
they're
make
using the
them this
child as a
way?
bargaining chip
Right.
or
What has made them do this? And even in my counseling, when I talk to clients and they have a disconnect with their parents, these are adults, and they have a disconnect with one of their parents. And then I ask them, more questions on what happened in your childhood with your mother or your father. Well, I don't know. Well, that would be a good place to start, because you only know your mother as your mother. You don't know your mother as, Susie, or, Lucille. You don't know them as a person. You only know them as your mom, because they once were your age.
Yes.
What did they go through to make them the parent that they were to you? Because it's a vicious cycle. And I've had people to come back to me and was blown away when they realized what their parent went through as a child, and how their parent had no business being a parent because they weren't given the tools to be a parent because of the things they went through as a child, that they are surprised they made it as a child. So now they saw their parent as a human being. And now they had compassion for that human being that became a mother maybe at age 16, 17 years old. And they did only what they knew, which wasn't much.
Right.
Exactly.
So when they
Playing it by
snatch
ear.
a baby and run, or you ain't gonna see your baby, I'm gonna show you, because you were the only love that they attached to. And then for some reason that relationship didn't work. So they did what was done to them because they did what they saw.
Yep.
True.
So sometimes you have to look at, instead of saying, oh, baby mama drama, oh, she this or he's that, he's no good. We all have said it. Me too. I have to look at that person and say, what is their story? How were they raised? Where did they come from? Because everybody has a story.
True.
And once you get to know their story and see that human being and how that human being was raised, you get to understand how they came to be and where they are today.
That's so true. We have a caller that came in. Welcome to speak on it. You there, caller?
I'm here. It's all aboard.
Hey, all aboard. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, and I was looking forward to the show because you told me that you were going to have a person in the mental health profession, speaking on it, and so I was looking forward to the show. And of course, Miss Rskee, you're always appreciated. You always come with information, and of course, Curtdog always come with the facts. It's very nice to meet you, Mrs. Simmons or Miss Simmons. I have a question, and I don't know if you can elaborate on this. But me and a good friend of mine were talking earlier today about the relationship that happens between, in the early years of a child's development, between specifically the mother and the son. When they don't have a healthy relationship with the mother, it seems like it does like extreme damage, and vice versa to the girls that don't have a relationship with their father. Is there something like psychological or science behind that, or is it just what we've experienced, what I've experienced, my friend and I?
So I'm trying to understand your question. So as a child is a baby, the relationship a son has with the mother versus a daughter has with their dad.
Well, like when it seems like from my research, when a boy doesn't have a good relationship with his mother, like when she's not nurturing, it can affect them like in their development. That's what it seems like. And when a girl doesn't have a good relationship with her father, it can affect the things that she does. Like you end up, for example, searching for love or like, things like that. Is there science behind that, or is that just?
It is, and I think it's sorry, my brain is I just ended a semester, so my brain is
I know
fried.
it's like
I just turned in my last paper, I think Sunday or Monday, so my brain is pretty fried right now. But I want to say is either Erickson or I think it's Erickson. I forgot what stage that is. But I think what you're saying is, and what I tell people, the most important person in a girl's life, actually in both males and females, boys and girls' life, is a father. And I say that because a father teaches a girl what a man, what a father is, and what a man is going to be. And when a girl doesn't get that from her father, she's always seeking and searching for it in a man. So she's always looking for protection. A father is there to protect. And when she doesn't get it from her father, and a lot of times when I'm dealing with women who are searching, looking for, oh, I married the wrong man. Oh, I married this man, and he's not who I wanted him to be, and he's not this and he's not that. She's searching for that love that she didn't get from her dad. So she's constantly trying to replace that. And now she has to learn how to give it to herself, because she can't replace that. She can't replace what she never had when she's looking for it from another man. Now she has to get it from herself. For boys and mothers, it's the nurturing part. If they're not nurtured from their mom, they're constantly trying to seek it from a woman. Either they're seeking it or they're not going to respect a woman. So they're constantly just being disrespectful. They don't value women because they don't value their mother.
Or their mother never valued them, or they never felt value from the person that they should feel value from. So
if they didn't feel value from their mother, they're not going to value women. So it's going to work both ways. If they never got it from their mother, or their mother never valued them, they're not going to value women. Because they're always seeking it. They don't trust women.
That makes sense.
Boys are not going to trust women because they can't trust their. Yeah, because they can't trust their mother. Right. There's two people in this world you're supposed to be able to trust. Those are your parents, your mother and your father. Because it took two people to make you. And if you can't trust those two people in the world, who can you trust? Can't trust anybody.
True. Yeah, so true.
You have to repair that first. That has to be repaired before you can really be in a serious relationship or repair yourself. Is what you're saying?
Right, because if you can't repair that relationship, let's say, okay, I worked for CPS for 17 and a half years. A lot of times that relationship will never be repaired. These kids, in the 17 and a half years I worked there, I've had one, maybe two kids went back home. 17 and a half years, two kids went back home. That
you
was
mean
it.
CPS,
Child Protective Services.
Okay.
So these are when kids are removed from their home. Two families went back home. That was it. They either was placed with relatives, maybe a few were adopted, but most of them remained in foster care and aged out. They never went back home.
I'm taking care of a family member, and it is very difficult. So I was just wondering, because a lot of the times they do lash out. I'm sorry to get so deep, but I think that's why it's very important to not have a parent remove one parent. Like if they're not like physically hurting the child or abusing them or mentally, if it, like they shouldn't remove that other parent from their life. I think that's really like hurtful for the child. I don't know if it's like mentally, like the science behind it. So
CPS just don't remove kids from parents unless they are not protecting the parent, not protecting the kids. If they are on drugs and won't get off, or if they are abusing the kids either mentally, physically, or mentally or physically. So there's reasons why they're not with their parents.
okay.
You may not know the reason why, but there's reasons why they're not there.
People,
Say that again.
Say it again, all aboard.
That's why we need to have more people in the mental health field that can understand nuances. It's really important because there's so many different little nuances that a lot of people don't understand. That they don't understand, like the difficulties, like the nuances. Like you may have never had a marriage in your family, so you might not know how to be a good wife or a good husband.
Right. Right. And that's why it's so important to have marriage counseling, pre-marriage counseling. That's why it's so important to get in a network of like-minded people. Because if you don't know what marriage look like, you're probably going to fail at marriage.
That's why I veer away from it, because I saw the negative side growing up, and I'm just like, I know what I don't want.
Right.
So
if you don't
I'm
know,
very
hey,
cautious.
I'm divorced. If you don't know what it looks like, a good relationship look like, you're going to get it wrong if you don't have a good foundation.
Right.
So you have to start working on that. You can be successful at it, but you have to build at it and get your foundation strong and have the right amount of people around you, surrounding you, to make it strong. Just because you come from a broken place don't mean that you're doomed to fail. You just have to make your own.
That's a fire quote.
And you're doing a great thing by helping family. It's honorable of you to help family and take in your family, because that's hard to do. And they're going to have behaviors because they're not with their parents. But the best thing you can do for them to make sure that they are getting counseling that they need, and make sure that counselor understands, what it is for them to, be without their parents. The reason why I wanted to go into counseling, because working for CPS, I didn't like their counselors. I didn't like the counselors that these kids were having. They didn't get the kids.
If you don't trust your counselor, you can't get any help if you don't trust them.
Right.
If you don't think that they understand your problems.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you anything about myself if I don't trust you.
Right.
So that's like an obstacle.
But you definitely have to be honest with the counselor. And that first session is kind of like a meet and greet. Once you know them, know the feeling, and read their bio. Read their bio. See what they're all about. And then that can kind of give you a decision if you want to deal with them or not. Because me personally, I'm going to be honest, I wanted to deal with a black counselor because they would understand me better than someone else could. Now, that's just my personal choice, but I need somebody who probably have gone through some of the things I've gone through, compared to somebody who was raised with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Yeah, you don't want to explain poverty and teach them poverty when you're trying to get mental health. You don't want to explain the struggle
Right.
being black. Like, you don't want to explain that.
So you take your time and you research. You do your research. Even for me, looking for a counselor just for myself. I went under Psychology Today. I looked at people bios. I took my time, and I'm in Arlington, Texas. My counselor is in Sugar Land, Texas. That's how long it took me to find somebody. Because I took the time and found someone just by their bio until I got comfortable with what I was reading to know that, okay, I think I can work with this person.
And that's what I need to do too, so I can, it's like weed out what I'm looking for and figure out what I want and find somebody that I feel comfortable with.
Mhm.
It's going to be trial and error. It's like dating, which is why I don't do it at all. I stay in my house.
Well, I'm going to a therapist tomorrow, and so this is like right on time because I'm thinking I'm gonna write a checklist of things that I want to touch on, because sometimes when you're in that session, I feel like there's a timer going. Like, oh, I got to tell them my whole life right now, and sometimes
But you don't.
It's like so much better.
It's not just one session, so you don't have to spill your guts in 50 minutes.
Well, it's one session when you're paying for it.
Do you have insurance?
I prefer to talk about that behind the scenes, but
Okay.
but anyway, I'm paying for it out of my pocket, but this is like right on time. Curtdog, right on time.
Okay.
Like, but I want.
But let me say this: when you talk to your counselor, and it's just us, I do side notes, I do sidebars, even in my counseling session. I'd be like, hey, time out, sidebar. When you talk to your counselor, you let her know what's going on with you, and you see if she has a sliding scale. If she's a counselor and she knows your situation, she will, and if she's a counselor and she's doing it for the love of what she do, and she's not doing it just for the money, she will work with you.
But why wouldn't you do it for the money?
I do. I mean, you do it for the money, but you also do it to help people. That's what I mean.
I like that.
I got to get paid. I enjoy it, but I'm here tonight for free. I do it because I love what I do.
And
as tired as I am and my eyelids are closing, I do it because I love what I do. But when you find people that are, and that's what I mean by, we talked about this earlier, you find people and people do it and have sliding scales. Because you told me, hey, I'm taking care of family members and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Hey, I'm listening to what you're saying. You have a heart. You're going above and beyond for yourself. You're working, you're in a field, in the chef field, culinary field. You're doing these things. In just the short time you've been talking, I'm listening to what you're saying. So you're paying out of pocket for counseling. You're getting help. You're trying to figure out whatever's going on with you. A counselor is going to listen to that. So because you're paying out of pocket, a counselor is going to say, okay, how can I help?
And if they don't, then I should reevaluate if
Right.
Is there a checklist of things that we should look for in a counselor? That's my question for you.
You got to go by that intuition, that gut feeling that's telling you, am I going to get what I need from this counselor? You have to trust your gut. When you're talking to that counselor, am I being heard? Is she listening, or he or she listening to me? Am I getting the feedback I need? Or are they just looking at that clock, waiting for that time to go by because this is a cash payment?
Now, also, all aboard, you may not been on the show at the time, but if you go to the psychologytoday.com, And correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Simmons. You said there may be some on there that would do it pro bono.
Yeah, they'll have on there if they take sliding scales or stuff like that, because sometimes they have interns, they have master level students, they have other people that works in the office that can take smaller fees, than what the counselor can take. And that counselor herself may take something, lower.
I'm gonna watch the show from the beginning, like after everything is finished. I always check the replay, but that's valuable because I'm going in the morning. So thank you for listening to my call, and I'm gonna just be tuning in and taking in this information.
No
thank
problem.
you, Ms. Rskee. Thank you, Ms. Simmons, and thank you, Curtdog, of course.
Appreciate it. And I did pull up your areas, a lot of different counselors on there. So you should be able to find one on there that can actually work with you.
It's hard because they don't understand, like, I'm not going to open up to a person if I don't trust them, or if I have to explain everything about, like, every little thing to them, I'm not going to trust them. But at the same time, I do have to be open with them, right? Like,
right.
Sure, the majority of them are doing it for the right reason. But I'm gonna look into the sliding fee, and if she don't do a sliding fee, I'm canceling her.
You just have to get a feel for it. Once you go in there, you'll get a feel for it.
Okay.
You just go in there being open, and then you can go from there.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
All right. And one last thing, if you go to psychologytoday.com, if you go over to the price and have a key where you can put a sliding scale, and it'll show you which ones have a sliding scale on there.
Okay.
So definitely do it. The name is up on the string, so definitely do it and get some help. So I appreciate you all aboard for always supporting the show, and let us know how it went.
I'll let you know.
All right, I definitely.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep watching. I'll be in the comments.
All right, I appreciate it.
Okay. Good
All
night.
right, have a good night. All aboard been rolling with us for a while now. I don't know how long it's been, but I'm gonna be respectful for your time, Miss Simmons, because
yes, I appreciate it. Because
see, by this time, Rskee been sent me a message. I gotta go to bed. So no, but I definitely appreciate it. Thank you for calling in all aboard. And we'll talk about it later on, Miss Rskee. But definitely continue if you are in the Metroplex, definitely reach out to Miss Simmons if you have questions or if you're looking for a great counselor. And also, she do work with other counselors here locally. She have I know he's gonna kill me. I forgot his name.
Harold Willis.
Yeah, another great counselor, and he specializes in I don't want to quote it wrong, drug and alcohol or drug and alcohol. So if you someone that is struggling with it, she have a group of counselors that she work with. If she don't specialize in that field, she can refer you to someone. So definitely reach out to her and get some help because we all need some help. So I definitely appreciate you, Miss Simmons, and Christmas time got to do something special for you. So I definitely appreciate you for volunteering your time for us coming on the show.
No problem.
Any closing remark, Miss Simmons?
No, I just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I hope everyone take care of themselves and be safe out there. And, just if they need help, don't be afraid to go out there and get help. And if they know someone that needs help, tell them to get help as well.
Exactly. Well, I definitely appreciate it, and until next time, Miss Rskee, were you still gonna do that tonight? What we talked about?
Um, we'll just post it on
Okay.
your page, and
Okay.
because we still got to work out some particulars.
All right. All right. Well, definitely continue to follow the show. Follow us on our platforms. Miss Rskee Books. Um, her website.
rskeebooks.com. You can check out my works. I'm everywhere on social media at RSKEE, TikTok, Instagram. That's where I live. So hit me up on my page. We may be doing some giveaways. So just follow our pages and we'll put more information out on that.
Okay. Um, And you can find me on all social media. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's best to send me a message. I will respond quicker. Um, Miss Simmons, I know I have your number up. If is that the best way of them contacting you, or do you have a social media page or a website they
No,
can go
I
to?
think everything is down for now because I'll be moving into my new office in January. I'm not taking any new clients until then. But they can give me a call on that number. And my website and all that will be up in January.
Oh, okay. Well, I definitely appreciate the both of you, and uh, until next time, we will see y'all then. Love each and every one of you. Peace.